Welcome into the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show. It's nice to have you along for the ride, and what a game we have to talk about still with the Philadelphia Eagles and the reaction to. And I can't believe are people this desperate for hot takes? We'll get into that conversation. Phillies split with the Braves yesterday. They blow game one after Bryce Harper's heroics to tie things up in the bottom of the ninth inning. 2 outs, down 2 runs. And Bryce Harper delivers, as he seems to always deliver. And he did it again yesterday. Wasted, mostly by the bullpen. The starting pitching wasn't so great yesterday either. But the bullpen in game one, not so good. Bullpen in game two, pretty damn good. We'll get into that conversation today. We'll also let you hear from Nick Sirianni. The word he used to describe the Eagles and their inability to move the football offensively. I feel like it was fair, and we'll get to that word coming up in a minute. But I do want to start it off by looking at the national picture for a second here. Look, game recognizes game. You know what I'm saying? Even if it wasn't a Philadelphia sport last night, I just want to say this. That Monday Night Football game, if you didn't see it, good Lord, go back and watch the highlights. I'm sure you saw on your Twitter feeds. I'm sure you saw on your social media. At the very least, that Aaron Rodgers was knocked out 4 snaps into the game, and Zach Wilson's like, how do you like me now? And Zach Wilson goes in. He's not very good. But anyway, he went in anyway, and Aaron Rodgers was out. They fear the Achilles injury right now. That's the headline. They fear the Achilles injury. After the game, Robert Saleh said that it's not good. It does not look good for Aaron Rodgers. My first thought was like, will he even believe that he was in New York? Put him back in Green Bay. Dude, you were high as you know what, man. You didn't even play for the Jets. You're crazy. Anyway, so yeah, it was a walk-off win. Xavier Gipson comes up with the walk-off. And I hate using the term walk-off, but I guess in overtime, when you walk it off with a punt return to beat the Bills, if you're the New York Jets, it's pretty incredible. So I definitely recommend to every single football fan out there, check it out. One thing that I did see from yesterday's game, the Jets were 0-54 against the Bills all time when trailing by 8 or more points in the second half. They trailed by 13, and they won. It was the first time in now 55 tries where they had been down 8+ points in the second half and came back and won. History is an incredible thing. Let's start it off with our beloved Philadelphia Eagles, okay? I can't for the life of me understand the panic. And I've seen some piping hot takes out there about Jalen Hurts really struggling. The entire offense really struggled yesterday. I know it starts with the quarterback. I am not about to abandon, and I said this yesterday on Fox, and people were coming in with the hot takes and all that stuff. I'm not about to abandon the idea that I have been talking about all offseason, and a lot of us have been talking about all offseason, in that Jalen Hurts is a perennial MVP candidate. He is not a flash in the pan that Carson Wentz was. He is a perennial MVP candidate. I believe he did not have a good game. I will state a fact that Jalen Hurts did not have a good game, and this offense did not have a good game week 1 against Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots defense. It seemed like he could take away almost anything he wanted to. Devontae Smith didn't have a good game, had a touchdown, still didn't have a good game. A.J. Brown had a couple catches, still not a very good game. Dallas Goedert didn't even get a catch. He had 1 target. And yes, on one particular play, it was blatantly obvious that Jalen Hurts didn't even see him downfield, and instead tried to go for the bigger play, which was going into the end zone for a touchdown. There's another play. Yes, he missed him as well, rolling to his right. He ended up throwing the ball away down the sideline. It wasn't a good game. And here's how bad it was. I'll make the same point that we made yesterday. And oh, by the way, this is live. I'm not taping. This is live. All right. So I didn't do my show after the game. I did my show after the game Sunday night. And this is live. We're live. We're all interacting here. It's nice to see it. I am not hitting the panic button over the Eagles. And Nick Sirianni even said after the game it was so bad that he's now highly considering. Flat out said he was going to do it. He's going to reconsider how he plays his guys in the preseason next year. That's how bad it was. game planning. I shouldn't even call it game planning, but preparation for next year's preseason has already been activated after game one. So if you did have a not so great opinion of the Eagles, you're correct because they did not play well. But the biggest thing for me is that they went out there, they played a subpar game, and they won. You're a pretty damn good football team when you play middle of the road and you still win. When you still find ways to win, you're a pretty damn good football team. Blame. Oh, boy. Blame. Blame's been going around here. We got some blame going on here. And I want to credit Seamus Clancy, who's been on the show before. We got to get him on again because it was such a great tweet. Seamus Clancy, I think, summed it all up well. He's a writer, of course, for Philly Voice. And Seamus Clancy came out and said on Twitter, how was the game? Or what was the order of it? It was like, did the Eagles win? Yes. Did they cover? Yes. What did it look like? It was the worst football game I had ever seen. And I thought that summed it up perfectly because that was really the reaction to it. If the Eagles end the game the way they started the game, with an interception return for a touchdown, and that pulls them within another score, and then Jordan Davis forces the fumble in the fourth quarter, and the Eagles get a touchdown out of that, and it's Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith. Oh, my God, Jalen Hurts is so clutch. That was incredible. And we're all singing the praises of Jalen Hurts. And you know what? We're acknowledging Darius Slay. We're maybe mentioning that Jordan Davis came up with a huge play there. If it happens reverse, we're talking about, oh, my God, they're so clutch, and when push came to shove, they did what ultimately mattered. Instead, we're talking about how Jake Elliott's a great kicker. We're talking about how Brian Johnson was a little overmatched there by Bill Belichick, and I didn't give Bill Belichick, of all people, I didn't give Bill Belichick his just due going into this game. I talked about Sean Desai versus Bill O'Brien and what that was going to look like, and Sean Desai, for the most part, did a fine job. His players were in the right position to make plays to help this team win football games, so he did his job. Brian Johnson, not so much. And the Eagles couldn't just find the right move to go along to knock out the Patriots in terms of like really take control of the game. They gave them opportunities, especially with that fumble by Jalen Hurts. But I thought Nick Sirianni summed it up well as far as what the offense was doing on Sunday against the Patriots and why they were having some struggles. And this was the buzzword Nick Sirianni was using yesterday during his press conference.
Great job of, we were in a rut. But I think the guys really responded and handled adversity that we faced yesterday in a positive way, and that's the way the season is. There's ups and downs through the season, and it's all about how you respond to the adversity that you get.
I'm not all about excuses. I'm not all about, saying, I was in a rut, we were in a rut. But if there was ever a time where I was going to accept a head coach telling us we were in a rut, it would be game one of the season on the road in the rain, by the way, against the Bills. The Bills did not have a good, or the Bills there. I'm still on Monday Night Football against the Patriots. The Patriots didn't have a great game either. They just happened to play worse than the Eagles did because, well, guess what? They weren't a good football team. They're not a good football team. The Eagles are a very, very, very good football team who did not play a very, very good game, unfortunately. I don't have a high level of concern after week one. I don't question Jalen Hurts' ability in throwing the football. I don't question Jalen Hurts' ability in the passing game. I just don't think that this Eagles team was ready to go full tilt. I thought they would be ready to go full tilt. I thought there's a lot of guys out there that don't play in the preseason, go out there, and they ended up having some pretty good games. But yeah, maybe you need at least a series under your belt just to break the trend of, not playing in a football game for 6 months. In this case, the Eagles, it was since February. So maybe they do need a little bit of a change. I don't mind a series in the preseason. I don't mind breaking that trend. And now after one game, Nick Sirianni's already talking about playing them in the preseason next year. It's a fascinating thing. Now here's the real crappy part. You ready for this? The Eagles released their injury report yesterday. Oh my God! Look at that! Reed Blankenship, James Bradbury, Fletcher Cox, Nakobe Dean, Kenny Gainwell. Okay, all right. Well, thank goodness the Eagles don't turn around and play on Thursday. Oh, wait, they do. Against a certain someone's, PJ. Minnesota Vikings. Reed Blankenship, ribs. James Bradbury, concussion. Fletcher Cox, ribs. What are you guys doing with your ribs? Nakobe Dean, foot. He's out like a month. Kenny Gainwell, ribs. Flak jackets, anyone? I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back. Chili's. All right. Sorry, that was just for me. All right. So, these guys all did not participate in anything. And they turn around and they play the Vikings. Not today, not tomorrow, the day after. They play them Thursday night. Thursday night football. We'll see what's going down. Now, Reed Blankenship did get hurt. He did come back in the game. James Bradbury is in concussion protocol. We'll see if he's able to get the quick turnaround. Otherwise, you're going to be testing out some of your young guys. And Jacoby Dean, as I mentioned, is done for a month. So the Eagles, at least a month, the Eagles went out and they signed another linebacker. Hey, it worked out with Zach Cunningham. That's good. It did not work out for Miles Jack, as some of us were excited that it would work out with Miles Jack. It did not. Miles Jack was more concerned about prepping for a zombie apocalypse before anything else. And I thought it was interesting on pregame on Jacob Media with Derek Gunn. Derek Gunn was talking about how the people in the NovaCare complex mentioned to him that Miles Jack was walking around as if he was already retired. And I was like, what does that look like? Does he have the golf bag already over his shoulder? Or does he have the tool belt ready to go to trade school to learn that trade to master in a zombie apocalypse? Whatever it might be. The Eagles bring in another linebacker. I hate using the term scrap heap. Off the street. They bring in Rashad Evans, former Tennessee Titan, one-time Atlanta Falcon. He now comes to Philadelphia to help the Eagles take care of their business. Look, I've been saying this for a while, but it's a fair comparison. We talk about running backs with a short shelf life, with a very short shelf life, right? The linebackers are right up there too, because this is a guy that the Eagles did not have a problem in getting, and he's a first-round pick 5 years ago. He's a 22nd overall pick, Rashad Evans, out of Alabama, and he's coming here to Philadelphia to try to help the Eagles figure things out. This should be interesting. They need bodies. Nicholas Morrow was cut after training camp, after preseason, went through everything, was fine, came back to the Philadelphia Eagles. I talked about it with Jody McDonald in the offseason there on Birds 365 on Jacob Media about how it was going to be very interesting, and I'd be very surprised if the Eagles only had 3 linebackers going into the season. Christian Ellis, Zach Cunningham, Jacoby Dean, who's now out, Nicholas Morrow is a practice squad guy, and now Rashad Evans joining the fray. Let's see how it works here, Sean Desai. Let's see how it works. It's very disappointing. Reed Blankenship, the safety position right now, that's going to be a fingers crossed type moment. I would be surprised, very surprised, if Reed Blankenship ended up missing this game on Thursday. This is the problem when you have the quick turnarounds in the NFL. Yes, you have more time off afterwards. Everyone can do the math there. But when you have the quick turnaround, it's a very troublesome thing. Now, the good news is that you're home. The Vikings are traveling to you, so that's a good thing. But when you look at the injury report like that, that is a little scary. Now, let's just forget about how packed that injury report was right now, and let's focus on something else. Let's focus on the idea that the Eagles got to turn this around in 4 days from what the performance was they put out there on the football field this past Sunday in New England. That's unacceptable. I understand that they won by the skin of their teeth. I understand they found ways to come up with big stops. Thanks, defense. Thanks, Jordan Davis. Thanks, Fletcher Cox. Thanks, Jordan Davis throughout the game. And Jalen Carter couldn't have picked a better time to come up with his first career sack. Of all the pressures, of all the hurries, of all that, of all the breaking through the offensive line and getting into the backfield, for all of it, couldn't have found a better time to do it than in that fourth quarter. That was fantastic. But how are the Eagles going to get back on the same page? I would love to just say, it's a preseason like that first game, New England. It gets better. It was just preseason. They just needed that little warm-up lap to get ready for this game here against the Minnesota Vikings. Now the rest of the season is going to be fine. They're going to start off, forget 8-0, forget 9-0. They're going to be 10-0 to start the season. I would really love to say that out loud into this microphone and believe it, but I don't. Injuries are always a concern. Sport of football, they're always a concern. But when a team doesn't look nearly as in rhythm as they were, and they came out of the gates great last year against the Lions. They came out of the gates well. They started walking back through the gates a little, I'll just call it wonky in the second half of that game against the Lions. But they came out of the gates strong. This game, no, they did not. They did not. Defense looked like they were ready to go. Defense looked like they were absolutely ready to party. I'm ready to go for this game. A couple of misplays, obviously. You get Hunter Henry on Reed Blankenship, and Reed Blankenship looks like Santa's elf standing next to Santa, trying to defend that touchdown pass to Hunter Henry. So that wasn't exactly a great thing for the Eagles. But there are other things in this game you can certainly point out defensively and say, oh, I wish they did that better. But they came up with the big plays to help this team win. And I would say that Jake Elliott, your defense, and then your offense is the order I'd go here. Special teams, defense, offense would be the way I'd go. But the bigger concern for me is not injuries. It's how you correct the mistakes that you made in New England. How do you correct those mistakes by Thursday night? How do you change the vibe in the locker room? How do you change the energy going into this game? What are you going to do to make sure you're getting Devontae Smith open more? What are you going to do to make sure that A.J. Brown's a bigger part of the game plan? What are you going to do to make sure Dallas Goedert gets a catch? For me, banging the drum for Dallas Goedert in the offseason, not a good start. This guy's going to be a Pro Bowler if he stays healthy. Well, he's healthy. He was out there on the football field. Didn't even look at him. One time he looked at him, and he overthrew him drastically. These are all guys that need to be part of it. I mean, you have enough of a stable of running backs here, I still think, with DeAndre Swift, even if I think Kenny Gainwell will be able to go come Thursday. But if he can't give you what he gave you in this first game, which was like the first 5 touches were all to him, including a reception out of the backfield, DeAndre Swift, I think, will be able to take on that workload. The question after that is, can Boston Scott hold up for it? And then after that, can a guy like Rashad Penny, if need be, actually be activated? I did not like what I heard about Rashad Penny after this game. I made a couple phone calls, shot a couple text messages. Nobody has a high opinion of Rashad Penny. I talked to one person. I said, so why isn't Rashad Penny actually, dressed? The response, he can't play. Okay. All right. And that wasn't because he can't play because he's hurt. It's he can't play because he's not good, which was shocking. He is better than nothing. That's what I thought. At least Rashad Penny would be number 3 ahead of Boston Scott. Boston Scott not only dressed, he's getting touches. Rashad Penny had a view from the sidelines. That is wild to me. Bonkers wild to me. Well, now you might have to dress him if Kenny Gainwell can't go in this game. Eagles have a lot of things, a lot of mistakes that they got to correct, and they don't have a lot of time to do that, unfortunately, being that it is Thursday night. It'll be fun. We'll all be having fun briefly, right? In no time, we'll have some fun, right? We're gonna have some fun. Okay. Bottom line is 1-0, and I really hope that the Eagles go out there Thursday night, and I don't need a 50-0 win. I need to see a steady offense. I need to see some big plays by this offense. I need to see Jalen Hurts make those plays. And whether it was a rut that they were in, like Nick Sirianni talked about, whether it was a funk, whether it was just needing to kick the rust off, let's go ahead and prove that on Thursday. Do that 4 days after, I don't want to say you laid an egg, but, didn't play up to the standard that we have seen the Philadelphia Eagles play at in game 1. Let's just see it turn it around quickly with the quick turnaround from game to game and show that you can correct the mistakes that you made just 4 days earlier. I'll cross my fingers for that. And I don't think that's too much to wish for. Let's move it on to baseball. I'll start at the end. Here's where we're at in the wild card standings as of right now. No, we're not. That is the wrong thing that I loaded because I'm a big fat idiot. The Phillies Phillies are a game and a half up on the Chicago Cubs, who did win yesterday. They won a 1-run game. Here is where we're at. Yeah, game and a half. Phillies 3.5 games into the top wild card spot. They were a game and a half up on the Cubs. They're 2 games up. Diamondbacks are now a game and a half up on the Marlins, who got spanked yesterday by the Brewers. And the San Francisco Giants are a game and a half out as well. Diamondbacks occupy that 3rd spot, and the Reds are 2 games out of that 3rd and final wild card spot. Yesterday's games really, they tested you, folks. They certainly tested you. The first game, you go out there with Taijuan Walker. Again, Taijuan Walker does not have his best stuff, but somehow magically you're able to stay in this ball game through a bunch of different ways. Most notably, Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm was fantastic from the plate yesterday. He's got the second game off. Now, the first game, I don't want to harp on a guy too much. I don't want to rag on the guy too much because he hasn't been the MVP of this team this season, but he's been close to it. With the way he's played first base and third base, and the way he has hit, the way he's hit with runners in scoring position, very close to an MVP level of play from Alec Bohm for the Phillies, of course, not the National League. For the Phillies, Alec Bohm has been very close to that. So I don't want to rag on the guy too much, but I do need to say this because it really upset me. He's a better player than what happened in that 5th inning. I understand he had 3 runs batted in. That's fantastic. But in the 5th inning, there's 2 outs. Bryson Stott steps to the plate. Alec Bohm just got an RBI single for his 3rd RBI of the game. He makes it a 5-3 ball game. Bryson Stott then steps to the plate with 2 outs. He hits a pop fly to right field. Ronald Acuna coming in to make the play, loses it in the sun. Ball drops. Alec Bohm lollygagging it off of first base. There's 2 outs. Ball's hitting the air. You just go, man. You just go. He goes into like a little bit of a home run trot to second base. I don't know if he heard the crowd react to the fact that the ball fell in or if he heard Dusty Wathan yell something along the lines of, "Get on your horse!" And Alec Bohm then busts it once he gets to second base. He gets thrown out at home. If he's busting it from first, he scores, and it's a tie ball game. They went into extra innings yesterday, so maybe, just maybe, Alec Bohm hits that ball, or scores that run. It's tied 5-5. Bryson Stott's then on second base. You have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Maybe you played him then. Maybe something else happens. Maybe Bryce Harper's home run is actually a go-ahead home run instead of the game-tying home run. My point is, the Phillies are in a position right now where there's no plays off, there's no outs off, there is taking nothing for granted. Because, look, the Phillies are going to make the playoffs. Spoiler alert, the Phillies are going to make the playoffs. They might not make that number 1 wild card spot. And look, last year it didn't matter. Last year, they limped into the playoffs and they won. They got the 7th and final wild card spot to make the playoffs, and they were down in the 8th inning against the St. Louis Cardinals, and they ended up coming back, and then they made it to a World Series. So, it's fine. But they didn't win the World Series. They made it, which is great. It was a great run. But I don't want just the Phillies to make the wild card again like they did last year. I'd like a little bit more momentum going into the end of the season. I'd like a little bit. I like some home games to start off the playoff push. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be good enough for the Phillies to just make the playoffs. I don't want to look at the Cubs and say I don't want to face the Cubs, they're the hottest team in baseball. I would like to say, no, the Phillies are the hottest team in baseball, and no one wants to face them going into the playoffs. Now, people can still look at last year and say, well, look what they did last year. You can't count them out, and that's fine. But I think we could all use some warm and fuzzies when it comes to the Phillies. I think we could all use a nice warm hug from the Phillies in the month of September with how great they played in August, how great they played in June and July. I think we could really use a nice run here from the Phils. In particular, where they don't lose 2 of 3 to the Marlins. And maybe where they don't lose 3 out of 4 to the Braves. That would be nice. They got the Pirates on the schedule. They got the Cardinals on the schedule. They got 7 left against the Mets. But I'm not taking anything for granted when it comes to the Mets because the Phillies just don't play well against the New York Metropolitans. So what I'm asking for is that nobody takes anything for granted the way Alec Bohm did in that 5th inning yesterday. You can't lollygag anything. You can't take anything for granted. There is no out that you can feel is already booked. And I love Alec Bohm. Admire the hell out of him for the way he handled the situation last year. I admire the hell, above all else, for the type of ball player he is, because he's a better player than what we saw in that fifth inning. And he did have 3 RBIs. But the Phillies, nobody can afford to take any time off. Nobody. And somebody asked me in the postgame yesterday on Fighting's postgame, somebody asked me whether or not they thought it was punitive that Alec Bohm was getting benched. I do not. I don't feel like he was being punished for responding with a lollygag to a pop fly to right field. I don't feel it. I feel they were just trying to give him a break. So the Phillies ended up losing game 1. Bullpen really struggled. Bilotti really struggled, giving up back-to-back home runs, made it an 8-4 ball game in the 6th inning. Then Bilotti comes out in the 7th inning. He gets a 1-2-3 7th inning, the first 1-2-3 inning since the 2nd inning of game 1 of yesterday's game. Then you have Schwarber come up. He works a walk. Trey Turner gets another 2-run home run for Trey Turner, makes it an 8-6 ball game. Albies goes out there. He gets the error with 2 outs. Did they actually go back? Somebody mentioned that they actually awarded that an infield single to Trey Turner in the bottom of the 9th inning against the Braves yesterday. I meant to check that out. But either way, he reaches base in the bottom of the 9th inning, whether it was a throwing error or what have you, or an infield single. Trey Turner gets on first base. Next batter is Bryce Harper. Next pitch winds up in left center field as Bryce Harper goes the opposite way to tie things up at 8-8. How incredible is that? They did call it an infield single. Okay, whatever. And then, unfortunately, Jose Alvarado came in and ended up allowing those 2 runs. Of course, one of them was from second base, gave up a big hit, and then he allows another run. So he allowed 2 runs, and the Phillies weren't able to get anything going in the bottom of the 10th inning. Then you go into game 2. So the Phillies struggle in that game 1. Go into game 2, and the Phillies just come out of the gates. You talk about warm hugs. Phillies give you a 4-run first inning. It made you feel pretty damn good about yourself. Edmundo Sosa coming up with a big hit. Him and Trey Turner both 2 for 4 yesterday in game 2 of the split doubleheader there, the 6:40 start time. They both come up with 2 for 4 nights. Edmundo Sosa came up with a 2 RBI night with that big hit that he had with the bases loaded with 2 outs in the first inning. So that was great. You go up 4-0. And then, oh my goodness gracious, Matt Olson, 2-out home run, 2-out 3-run home run off of Michael Lorenzen. Michael Lorenzen, 5 innings, 4 runs yesterday, all of them earned. I can't even be mad at somebody for giving up a home run to Matt Olson. Now he's got 50 on the season. Thought it was a really cool exchange. He hit his 50th later in the season, or later in the game. Yes, I thought it was a really cool exchange with Kyle Schwarber and the fan, the lady that caught the ball. You can see something was going on there with Kyle Schwarber, who had another baseball and said, hey, you want this one instead? The lady threw him Matt Olson's ball, and then he threw it into, I think it was Arcia who ended up collecting it for the Braves. Pretty cool moment there. Hey, again, game respects game. And then the Phillies were able to tack on a couple of more runs to take care of business there as the game went on. But the way I saw this playing out with the Phils in that second game, you saw that 4-run first inning, and then the Phillies get to respond in the 4th inning after Olson's home run. Jake Cave came up there with the RBI double, was able to flip it into a triple. Sosa came up there to score the run. Then Cave was able to take third on the throw. They originally said it was a double with the run scored. They ended up giving a triple for it, so it's a 5-3 ball game. And then Trey Turner comes up with clutch hit again. This one an RBI double to left center field. A ball that split the gap, and he just turned it on. Was originally called out at second base. They called him safe after they overturned the call, so that was good. 6-3 ball game for the Phils. Also gets another home run of the 6th inning. It's a 7-4 ball game. And then the bullpen just absolutely slammed the door. Gregory Soto is the one that gave up the home run to Matt Olson, and that was really the only blemish. Bullpen was pretty great. Other than that, Soto gave up the home run to Harris. But then it was a 7-5 ball game, and then in the 8th inning, they're able to take care of business with Matt Strahm going through a very quick 10-pitch 8th inning, and then Craig Kimbrell came in for his 23rd save of the season. That was fantastic. To see the bullpen come out only allowing a run, They pitched 4 innings in yesterday's game, allowed 2 hits, 1 run. And these were the names. Jeff Hoffman coming out there, doing what he needed to do. That was great. He came in relief for Michael Lorenzen there in the 6th inning after Olsen hit the home run. Hoffman comes in, gets Murphy to fly out to center field, strikes out Rosario on a beautiful slider and a 9-pitch at bat. Then Arcia, he ends up reaching on the E5, so she just couldn't handle it. And then despite that adversity, get the next out, just get the next guy. He strikes out Pilar on 3 pitches. Just taking it to him with a fastball there. So that was great. These are the guys: Hoffman, Soto, Kimbrel, Strom, and obviously Alvarado, who pitched in game 1. But these are guys that you're going to be relying on heavily in the postseason. And to see most of those guys go out there and do their job yesterday was a good feeling. Phillies are back at it, 6:40 start time today against the Braves. This time around, it's going to be Zach Wheeler going up against Max Fried. Wheeler, by the way, 4th in Major League Baseball in quality starts. I knew he was high. I didn't know he was that high. And he'll go up against Max Fried, who has just been dominant so far this year. Phillies have these 2 games left against the Braves, and they face the Braves in Atlanta next week for a 3-game series in Atlanta. They got the Cardinals in between that, and that'll be a 6-game road trip in St. Louis. They'll be playing them. So that's what you got there. Before I get to the chat check, let me tell you guys about MyBookie and how fantastic MyBookie is. They do a fantastic, amazing job each and every year. But this year in particular, partnering with the Farzy Show to give us all the good bets and all the good things when it comes to MyBookie at mybookie.com. Check them out. As a bettor, you demand perfection, and MyBookie delivers. NFL, college football, brand new cash out system gives you options when you bet and win all season long. First 2 legs of your parlay hit, cash out early, place another bet, and let it ride for a chance for the bigger payday. Join MyBookie family for an entire season filled with daily odds boosts, same-game parlays, and super contests as well. This season, MyBookie has no strings attached, cash bonus, and lets you deposit and withdraw quick. Use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy for a deposit of $50 or more, and you can receive up to $200 in cash instantly for your MyBookie account. Bet your deposit once, and you're ready to withdraw at any time. Again, that's promo code Farzy to claim your cash deposit bonus. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only at MyBookie. So check out MyBookie. Download the app to your phone and have yourselves a great time. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Tuesday morning. Started off on the Farzy Show channel here. Oh, wow. Pop it. April. Hey, good morning. Just literally, hey, good morning, everyone. Morning, Sean Gillespie. Hey, the Jets are cursed. The Jets are cursed? They won. I know Aaron Rodgers is out. But the Jets won. Can't say that they're cursed if they won. Sean Gillespie, good morning. Bills suck. They do. Wow, did the Bills not look good yesterday? They're deep. Josh Allen, 3 picks. Good Lord. That was atrocious. That Wilson catch, by the way, or Watson catch, by the way, in the end zone. That was nuts. He went from receiver to defender, then back to receiver, tipping that ball to damn that was pretty ridiculous, if you ask me. Yeah, Allen had 3 interceptions and a fumble, lost fumble. That's not exactly what you want to do if you're an MVP candidate, which he seems to work himself into the conversation almost every year. That was bonkers. Jordan Whitehead had 3 interceptions yesterday for the Jets. That is insane. And then Garrett Watson came up with that insane touchdown. He had 5 catches yesterday. Good for him. That was just insane. Zach Wilson coming off the bench when Aaron Rodgers got hurt 4 snaps into the game. Zach Wilson, 14 of 21 for that touchdown. And then he also threw an interception. He was sacked twice in yesterday's game. But yeah, that was pretty wild. Sean Gillespie, hello. Josh Allen, what the? I agree. Sean Kilrain, it's week 1. Come back when it's week 5 to 7 to really talk about the team. I totally agree with you. Thank you. Look, I am not a wait and see guy. But if it's going to be about me losing my mind, then I might, pump the brakes on a couple piping hot takes. And I just clickety click, click, clickety click. I don't get it. I just, whatever. That's just the way the media is nowadays. Sean Gillespie, Rodgers needs to train in Brady's system. What, hallucinogenics? Not doing it? Sean Kilrain, good one yesterday. You definitely got everyone. Oh, good one yesterday. Thank you, Sean. I was leaving Fox 29 yesterday. And, I was arriving at Fox 29 yesterday. And I was like, let's see how we're doing. And I went into the chat and I was like, okay, we're up and running. That's good. And then I saw, you guys commented and everything. And I was like, I know I said it at the end, but I feel like I should just let them know now. This is taped. Ha ha ha. Anyway, you can tell it's week 1. Cowboys fans are joyous. Sean Gillespie, great point. But they did dominate the Giants? They did dominate the Giants. How about this? The Giants are the second best team in New York right now. I don't know why that brings me joy. I have no allegiances to the I don't root for the Jets. I just like to see the Giants be terrible, despite my admiration of Dave Meggett as a young child. I don't know why I like Dave Meggett. Why did I like Dave Meggett? Oh, that's why I like Dave Meggett. It's a stupid thing as a kid. I did like the Giants as a child. And then I grew up and then I understood what divisions were. I was like, oh, I can't like both teams. What? My dad, McDonald's was giving away like these player cards, and my dad was working in North Jersey, and he stopped and got me McDonald's one time when I was up there with him for work. And like they gave away these player cards, and they were all New York Giants. And for whatever, Mike Sherrard and Dave Meggett were the guys I remember. Yeah. Crazy. Childhood and sports. Sean Kilrain, love the Philly Dogs. Absolutely. April, I knew Bradbury would be in protocol. He got clocked. Let me just admit my own stupidity here again. I feel like I do that a lot. I heard somebody say after the game that James Bradbury was in a walking boot. And they misread a tweet that said he had a bloody lip. So I guess he just looked at it quickly and saw blood and thought it was boot. I don't know. So then I take it as Bible, as gospel, that, James Bradbury's in a walking boot. And then I see the concussion. And I go, why is he wearing a walking boot if he got hit in the head? And then I was like, I punched up and I go, oh, I'm an idiot. That's why. Because I just listened to something about, that's what happened, instead of like looking at it myself. Fortunately, I didn't say that on the air. Josh Allen once again goes all Favre and ends up costing the Bills. John Cheesebro, what's up, buddy? Josh Allen does have a lot of that Brett Favre in him. That one, the third interception or second interception was in the end zone. I think it was to Whitehead, and he steps up in the pocket and it was like throwing blindly deep down the middle of the field in double coverage, and Whitehead came up with the interception. When Allen threw that ball, when that ball left his hands, I went, what are you doing? And sure enough, second interception. I actually thought if this was a touchdown, I was like, if he's making this throw, this might be miraculous, and it was not. John Spiesa, looking at it reasonably, maybe a factor in Philly play calling. Was planning for 2 games at once right out of the gate. I don't know, but the play calling and game planning was not good. I got into this argument with Aton yesterday during the Fox hit. He was anti Sean Desai. I was pro Desai, anti Brian Johnson. Like in terms of the blame game after one game, all the offensive weapons you have, and you couldn't do diddly poo against the New England Patriots? That's atrocious. Jordan Davis came up, gave your offense great field position. You were able to get a touchdown. When the defense gave you great field position. The defense gave you a touchdown. Thank you, Darius Slay. Or as he likes to call himself now, he's speedier than Speedy Gonzalez, I think was the quote after the game. I can't get enough Darius Slay. Your defense was the hero yesterday. Jake Elliott, your defense, and then the pile of crap of poo emojis and then the Eagles offense. Please have a bounce-back game against this Minnesota Vikings team. John Cheesebro, the Jets, man, they survived. Going over with Zach Wilson. Yeah, I agree. People, the Jets game as a loss? Not anymore. Oh, I still have the Jets game as a win. I don't see the Eagles losing to the Jets. Got to make up for them. I've lost a crazy kid. Oh, you got to make it for lost time. Yeah. Nice to have you again, John Cheesebro. For the Phillies, how many nice leads will this pitching staff blow? Also, how many clutch Bryce Harper home runs are going to hit? Yep. Phillies are content to just make the playoffs, says Sean Gillespie. Jason A., I thought Wilson did decent. He was okay. April, I'm so damn tired of Andrew Bellotti. Stresses me out. Yeah, you know what he is? He's a perfect bullpen pitcher. He is red hot or ice cold. He's shutting them down or he's giving up dingers. And there's no better example than the 6th and 7th inning of the first game yesterday. Gives it back-to-back home runs. 1, 2, 3 inning. Next inning. John Cheesebro, I have the Eagles smashing the Jets. There you go. Jets defense is nasty. I concur. IBH, we need to have practice with the Birds, no preseason snaps and learning curve over the middle. I agree. Well, I played the cut for you yesterday. It was A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was like, this is a teaching moment, and we're all going to be better after this teaching moment. Week 1 of the NFL regular season is now teaching time. Mihai Sanchez, as long as the Braves don't clinch the NL East on our home field, we good. Go Phillies. All right, that's one way to look at it. All right, let's look at the Jacob Media YouTube channel, see how you guys are doing. That was the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Let's get over to Jacob Media and see how you wonderful people are doing on this day. Jason A's over here as well. Kevin Savard. I'd say no on Fletch with ribs. Oh, him starting or him playing? Let's bring that back. Yeah, I mean, look. Concussion, I'm going to go ahead and say no. You're going to be probably missing James Bradbury. I think Reed Blankenship plays. He played with it, so I think he plays again in this one. Fletcher Cox is a concern. Kenny Gainwell is a concern, and obviously Nakobe Dean is out. So on this list, I would say no Gainwell, obviously no Dean, no Cox. Sorry. Oh, no Bradbury. 4 of these 5 guys not playing. So no Cox, no Dean, no Gainwell, no Bradbury. Bradbury with a concussion. That's the way I see this shaping up. How about Ricks? He could play safety. They could put him out there. I doubt it. I think they're safe. I don't think they're going to do an Avonte Maddox type thing where Avonte goes back there and plays safety. I don't think you're going to have a corner play safety. I think you're going to have Justin Evans. I think you're going to have Sidney Brown. I think you're going to use the 3 main safeties that you already have going into the season. I don't think there's been a major shakeup there, nor do I think they're going to need one because I think Reed Blankenship's going to end up playing in this game. Emmanuel Arenas, what's going on? We need a good linebacker ASAP. Kevin Savard, how about Ricks? He can play safety. I just mentioned that. I'm sorry. Letting TJ go was a huge mistake. Kevin, they just don't value line. Like, you think people don't value running backs? They don't value linebackers. I'm still shocked that they, like, even with Nakobe Dean, they got, put it this way, they got great value for a guy that people thought was going to be a first-round pick. Some people had him going, 20 to 32 in the first round. Getting him in the 3rd round, they feel like they got the bargain of a lifetime. What? We don't have to plug in an undrafted free agent that we signed, an undrafted rookie free agent? All right, we're living large. What else is happening here? Rhythm was terrible for the offense. That was a main thing. Rhythm is a huge thing with the Eagles and any offense in the NFL, obviously. And anytime you don't see that rhythm, you have concerns. And when the Eagles struggled as much as they did trying to establish anything, I mean, you get the short field, you get the ball on the 35, 40-yard line after the Jordan Davis fumble, and you're able to get up there and punch. You had a penalty, I believe it was, also move you upfield a little bit. So the Eagles offense got a lot of help yesterday, and all they could do was muster 1 touchdown. If you want to tell me that the Eagles offense wasn't as bad as their defense. You want to tell me the defense really struggled? The defense had as many touchdowns as your offense. So anytime you say that, it's really hard to convince me of that argument. Oh, and the only touchdown that did come offensively came after a gift from your defense? Yeah, no. The guy I'm more worried about than anything in this, more than any coordinator or coach, I'm more worried about Brian Johnson. And I said this throughout the entire offseason, this is not hindsight. People wanted to tell you, oh, there's a great relationship with Jalen Hurts, and there won't be a drop-off. Okay. All right. He's never called plays. I don't care who your best friend is. If you got to work with them all of a sudden, they may have some shortcomings. I don't care who your close friend of the family is that has known you since you're 4 years old. You got to work together. You got to find that groove. It's not just a given. Oh, well, they know each other for a long time, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Really? What's the popular phrase on social media now? You sure about that? You sure about that? I don't think people are sure about that. Brian Palancar. Do you think Nolan Smith will see more snaps on Thursday? Yes, I do. He was a low percentage. It got to be about the third quarter, and I said to John McMullen while we were in the green room at Ocean Casino, I said, what are you expecting? I said, I haven't even seen Nolan Smith yet. And then he was in on a tackle. And I was like, oh, there he is. And then it felt like you barely saw him in this game. But, yeah, I do expect him to have more snaps, basically because the Eagles are going to be on, obviously, short rest, as are the Vikings. But you're going to have these guys 4 days later go out there try to make plays. Yeah, I would say the guys that did not play a lot had low snap counts. In this opportunity to play on Thursday night, they're going to get a bigger and, they're going to get a higher snap count than what you saw on Sunday. That's the way I see it playing out. And I want to see it. I need to see Jalen Carter. Look, after watching the game again yesterday, after listening to Nick Sirianni, there is one main takeaway above all else from week one. Let's get into the morning rush. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great. One main takeaway I have from week one now going into week two. That takeaway is Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter was dominant in his first game as an NFL player. Now, if you're going to have a guy to play just as well in game two, I'm going to go ahead and in week two on short rest, I'm going to go ahead and say that's going to be a younger guy. I'm going to go ahead and assume that a rookie is going to come out and play better or play just as well as he did. He'll be able to stomach the quick turnaround. I do worry about with every young player that kind of rookie wall that they hit after week 12, where they're not used to playing that many games anyway, and then they hit a bit of a wall, and it's a little scary. Jordan Davis was hurt. So it may be an unfair comparison. Last year, there have been plenty of guys in the past that have struggled with that. But if there's going to be one guy that I think is going to play at the same level, if not better, and will continue to be a problem, and a guy that the Minnesota Vikings are certainly looking at going, we got to double team this guy, especially if Fletcher Cox is going to miss this game, it's Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter, I say it all the time, if you're a young player and you're playing in the preseason, or you're a young guy getting your feet wet, in actual regular season games that count, just show me you belong. Jalen Carter did more than that. Jalen Carter went above and beyond the showing me you belong. You showed me you got to be game planned for. And I know some people think that's obvious as well, but man, I expected him to get a couple pressures. I didn't expect 6 pressures. I didn't expect him getting quarterback hit. I didn't expect him to get maybe his first sack. Yeah, let's fish a wish. Let's go for your first sack. To come up with a clutch first sack, that's pretty impressive. Jalen Carter is going to be a problem. He is going to be a huge problem for offensive lines this year. And if he's doing that, then that means that, Nolan Smith. That means that Nakobe Dean, when he's healthy, that means Hassan Reddick. That means these guys are going to have some pretty great seasons. Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, you're going to continue to see it. You're going to continue to see this Eagles defense get after quarterbacks. You're going to continue to see sacks as the season goes on. And you're going to see it with regularity because of what they're doing in the middle of that defensive line. Jalen Carter is my number one takeaway from week one. If I can hang my hat on one thing in the most optimistic way, hey, look, Jake Elliott did his job. Kickers, they get carried off the field when they win a game, and whenever they just kick a lot of field goals, like Jake Elliott, for instance, even though it was the biggest difference in the game, Even though they did that, it was like, all right, good, he did his job. He did what he was supposed to do. He made kicks. 56 yards, nothing. But my number one thing, I knew Jake Elliott is a Pro Bowl kicker, okay? Jalen Carter I needed to see at the NFL level in a game that counted, and, man, he was a man amongst boys. I very much look forward to the rest of his NFL career, and I very much look forward to Thursday night seeing what he can do against this Minnesota Vikings team. Quick turnaround for the Eagles. It's not just a quick turnaround. It's not a lot of time to make up for mistakes. The Vikings are obviously coming in here hungry. They lost a tough one, of course, to the Bucs, 20-17. They're going to be hungry. They don't want to drop to 0-2. But as they found out last year, Philly's a tough place to play. As they found out their last couple trips here to Philadelphia, it's a tough place to play, including the NFC Championship game in 2018, following the 2017 season. So I think the Eagles are going to continue. I got to learn more about the injury report, see where the Eagles are at after the report, see where they come out with practice today, hear from the coordinators, see where everybody's at. But it does not look good when you look at that injury report in terms of who's going to be playing and who's not going to be playing. So I'll keep my fingers crossed that the Eagles have more healthy guys than not going into this game coming up Thursday night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the people on the podcast. Thanks so much. People at Jacob Media, thank you. I appreciate it. Let me do one last check of the Farzy Show channel. Definitely not sure about Brian Johnson. Well, yeah, it's not bad to have questions. Not bad to have questions. I think we all have questions right now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Be back with you guys tomorrow. Oh, wait, preview. Sorry, didn't mention the preview. Zach Wheeler gets the start for the Phillies tonight. 6:40 start time against the Atlanta Braves. Game 3 of this 4-game series. Phillies will at least look to clinch a split. At this point, I'll take a split. Max Fried gets the start for the Braves. Max Fried has just been on fire since he started pitching for the Braves this season. 7-1 with a 2.70 ERA. He is coming off a 6-inning, 3-run performance against the Cardinals of all teams. Prior to that, it was a 7-inning shutout performance, 3 hits allowed, and just 2 walks against the LA Dodgers. That's where he's coming in out of. As for Zach Wheeler, he is coming off another solid start for him. He has been dominant for the Phillies as of late. He's coming off a 6-inning scoreless performance, 2 walks issued against the San Diego Padres in that one. Prior to that, it's really crazy. It's been 2 months. It's been 2 months. We haven't even mentioned this. It's been 2 months since Zach Wheeler had a start of anything less than 6 innings. Do you realize that? So we can talk about quality starts to the cows come home. But the last time Zach Wheeler went less than 6 innings was July 1st. He went 5 innings, and the Phillies won that game, by the way. It was against the dreaded Washington Nationals that he struggles against. It was a 19-4 win, if you remember that game. On July 1st, he went 5 innings, allowing 4 runs on 7 hits. He did allow a home run, but he still picked up the win, his 7th win of the season. July 1st is the last time he went anything less than 6 innings. Ever since then, it's been at least 6 innings of work. That is pretty damn good for Zach Wheeler. So let's hope he keeps that trend going today against the Braves. He has faced Atlanta twice this year. I'm sorry, he's faced Atlanta once this year. And his one start against the Braves, he went 8 scoreless in a 2-1 victory back in May. So, yeah, let's bring that energy, Zach. It's wild that he's only faced them one time this year. That's just crazy. But it was a great start. It was 8 innings of scoreless baseball. 3 hits, 1 walk, struck out 12. So, yeah, let's keep that same energy there, Zach Wheeler. Keep the fire. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. Brian, appreciate it. It's very nice of you. See you tomorrow. Also, I'll see you guys tonight. Jacob Media Fighting's post-game show after the 6:40 start time. I'll be in rare form. I got kids back to school night tonight, so I got to talk to the teachers about whether or not my kids are causing a ruckus in their daycare/school, preschool. And Montalutz, Little Toots is in pre-K already. Time does fly. Jim Heidenpru's program did a wonderful job as per usual. Be back with you guys tonight for Fighting's post-game show. You got Birds 365 coming up at 8 o'clock today with Jody Mack and Johnny Mack as well. I'm Mark Farzetta. Talk to you guys tonight at Fighting's postgame and talk to you guys tomorrow morning as well. See you then.